Today, we are going to dive into a book that could literally save you or your kids tens of thousands of dollars. It's called Debt-Free You by Zac Bissonnette, and we're going to break down the most powerful and, frankly, the most counterintuitive advice for getting through college without drowning in debt. Welcome to Fatter Wallet's Book Summaries, where we dig into the best financial books to pull out the wisdom you need to make smarter moves with your money. You know, this quote from the author's own dad, it just hits hard. It perfectly captures that knot in your stomach, that constant nagging anxiety that comes with money stress. And that's really the whole point of this book, showing you how to break that cycle. So, let's jump right in and tackle the first and biggest myth out there. The idea that a fancy, prestigious name on your diploma is worth any price tag. We're all taught to chase that prestige, but is it really the smart financial move? This is the story we all tell ourselves, right? Just get into the best school you can and worry about the loans later. But Bissonnette argues that this is a super dangerous way of thinking. You know, any good investment comes down to two simple things: what it costs you and what you get in return. And with college, we tend to blindly accept these massive costs without ever really doing the math on the return. Let's look at a perfect example from the book. Okay, you could go to Boston University, great private school, and pay around $33,000 a year to get a starting salary of about $51,000. Or you could go to the University of Florida, pay less than $3,000 a year, and start your career at $42,000. And this right here is where the whole thing clicks into place. It's not about the final salary number. It is all about the marginal return. What did you get for that extra money you spent? You're paying $30,000 more every single year for only $9,000 in extra starting pay. That is an enormous financial hole to dig for yourself for a pretty small bump right out of the gate.
Okay, let's move on to myth number 2. And this is a huge one, especially for parents. It's the obsession with picking the right major. You know, that one specific degree that's supposed to guarantee a high-paying job the moment you graduate.
You gotta love this. This is an actual letter that Ted Turner, the guy who founded CNN, got from his dad. It's hilarious, but man, it really captures that intense pressure to pick something practical. Parents hear their kid wants to major in philosophy or English, and they just start to panic. But here is the big twist. Bissonnette's research shows that what employers actually want are these core transferable skills. And get this, the skills they say they value most are the exact same ones they say recent grads are lacking. It's not about the subject you mastered. It's about whether you can think critically, communicate clearly, and have a solid work ethic.
And here's the real kicker. About 80% of students change their major at least one time. 80%. So picking a super expensive school just for one very specific program, that's a huge gamble. The smarter move is to pick an affordable school with lots of strong programs, giving you the flexibility to explore without going broke.
All right, on to our third and final myth, the experience trap. This is where we pay thousands and thousands of extra dollars for these vague ideas like campus fit or that picture-perfect college experience.
I mean, the book uses this exact quote from another guide. It sounds a little ridiculous, doesn't it? But we do it. Families make these monumental financial decisions based on a feeling they get during a one-hour campus tour. We fall in love with the old brick buildings and the kids playing frisbee on the quad, and boy, does it cost us. So let's talk about a huge piece of that experience, the dorm room. At the time the book was written, this was the monthly cost to live in a tiny 100-square-foot dorm room at the University of Miami. We're talking nearly $1,000 a month. But here's the wild part. For almost the exact same price, you could get a 600-square-foot apartment right next to campus. That's 6 times bigger. The truth is, on-campus living is often a terrible deal. You pay a massive premium for that experience when one of the easiest ways to save thousands is to just live off campus after freshman year. So we've busted the myths, we know what not to do. Now the big question is, what do we do? This is where we turn all this talk into action. This is your game plan for a debt-free degree. Now listen up, because this might be the most powerful strategy in the entire book. Start at a community college. Seriously. The classes are smaller, the professors are focused on teaching, and you will save an astronomical amount of money. Then, once you built up a great GPA, you transfer to a 4-year school. And guess what? Study after study proves that transfer students perform just as well as the students who were there all 4 years. You get the exact same diploma for a fraction of the cost. It's a total game changer. And here are some rapid-fire rules to live by.
Think of them as the Fatter Wallet's rules. First, look for honors programs at public universities. It's like a private school experience for a public school price. Second, work during school. Employers value that experience just as much as your grades. Third, go through your bill with a fine-tooth comb and question every optional fee. Fourth, never, ever buy new textbooks. An older edition is 99% the same and costs almost nothing. Fifth, live off campus. And finally, please avoid taking out a loan for a new car. And all of this brings us to the last and most important question. This isn't just about avoiding the pain of student loans. It's about creating freedom and opportunity. So just think about it for a second. If you graduated with a zero balance, what could you do? What could you build? What risks could you take? Could you start that business? Could you travel? Could you take that dream job that doesn't pay a ton but that you're passionate about? Graduating debt-free isn't just a financial strategy. It's a freedom strategy. This has been Fatter Wallets.